All right. Shalom, family. It's your brother Kanaiba coming at you once again with this video titled Trailer for Upcoming Movie Nope. Are they making mockery of Yahawashi'S second coming? Okay. So, of course, like I just said, this particular video is going to be, my critique, okay, from a spiritual vantage point about the trailer for this up and coming movie. It's going to be Jordan Peele's newest movie, and it's called Nope. Okay, and of course, I was watching the first game of the NBA Finals, and one of the commercials was the trailer for this particular movie, but the trailer I seen was actually a newer trailer. Okay, I'm going to be doing an evaluation first on one of the older trailers because it's longer. Okay, and we're gonna evaluate it from a spiritual vantage point because there are a lot of things in this particular trailer. Okay, there are a lot of subliminal things that are being pointed out. Okay, now I can't say for sure, if this is really what the whole movie is about. Okay, because I'm only basing this evaluation on about a 2.5 minute trailer. Okay, so I can only say so much about the movie until I actually see the whole movie. Okay, but from what I've seen in the trailer, it seems like this movie is actually going to be a mockery of Yahawashi'S second coming. And not only a mockery of Yahawashi and his second coming, but a mockery of the 2/3 as well. Okay, but again, I can't really say for sure until I actually see the whole movie. Okay, so without further ado, let's actually get into the trailer. Okay.
Did you know that the very first assembly of photographs to create a motion picture was a 2-second clip of a black man on a horse? And that man is my great-great-grandfather.
Great.
There's another great-grandfather.
What's up with old boy? This nigga look like he really went to the sunken place this time. He like he wasn't able to escape this time. But anyway, as you see, the trailer opens up with her explaining how the first set of pictures that was compiled together to create a motion picture was that of a black man on a horse. Okay, now this is just my critique. Okay, but I believe this is actually subliminal. I believe this is actually Jordan Peele giving a message, talking about Adam. Okay, her talking about the very first motion picture is just simply going back to creation. Okay, and this is actually pointing out, who the original people were. Okay, they were so-called black people. Okay, coming in different shades of brown. Okay, that's what I believe this is supposed to be an allusion to. And I'm going to explain that further here in a bit. Okay, but to actually get some biblical understanding, let's actually go to the scriptures, because not only did she mention the black man, she said he was on top of a horse. He was riding a horse. Okay, they compiled pictures of a black man riding a horse to create the first motion picture. Okay, this is going into Adam. Okay, and the rulership that he was given originally. Okay, because in the Bible, horses, a lot of times, depending on the context, horses are a metaphor for power and rulership. Okay, so let's get into it. Let's look at the scriptures. Okay, so opening up, this is 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 54. And it reads, it says, and after these, now watch closely, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. Of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Okay, so as we see, Like I said before, it says Adam was made Lord over all of the Most High's creatures. Okay. And this is why, of course, according to my critique, which is just my critique, this is why Jordan Peele made it a point to mention how the first motion picture, which is subliminal for creation, okay, the first motion picture was that of a black man on top of a horse, okay? It was numerous pictures of a black man on top of a horse compiled together to make the first motion picture, okay? But the point is the black man on top of the horse. This is a representation of Adam and the rulership that he was given, okay? And of course, the end of this verse is going into what? And the people also whom thou hast chosen, which of course are the children of Israel. That's why I said this movie is also a mockery of the 2/3 from what I've seen from the trailer. Okay, I can't say for sure until I see the whole movie. Okay, but from the trailer, it looks like a mockery of the 2/3 as well. Okay, but now let's get another verse to about the horse to prove that it actually represents rulership. Okay, let's get to it. So moving forward, this is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 7. And it reads, I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Okay, so let's deal with the first part. The first part says what? I have seen servants upon horses. Okay, this is letting you know what the horse represents. Okay, it represents power and rulership. Okay, ultimately, who is this servant talking about that's upon the horses? Okay, this is dealing with Esau. Okay, he is the servant that's upon the horses right now. He's the one that's in rulership. Okay. And then the last part says what? And princes walking as servants upon the earth. That refers to us. Okay. We are the real nobility of the planet. And we're walking as servants upon the earth. Okay. We're not on top of the horses. Okay, but this is just showing you what the horse represents. Okay, the one that's on top of the horse is the one that's in power. Okay, and this just proves that the Bible is true, because this is really a prophecy. Okay, what Solomon actually saw. Okay, when you go back to this particular statue that was just removed not too long ago, and I believe this statue was in New York. You brothers can correct me if I'm wrong. But as we see, you have this devil, Teddy Roosevelt, who was an Edomite. OK, he is on top of the horse. OK, and then when you look on both sides of him upon the earth, on the ground, on the right hand side, you have the Judite brother, okay, the so-called Negro on the right hand side. And then on the left hand side, you have the Gadite brother, the so-called Native American, both of which walking upon the earth. Okay. And of course, this being a Judite brother or a so-called Negro and a Gadite brother, a so-called Native American, this represents both kingdoms of Israel, the southern kingdom of Israel and the northern kingdom of Israel. This represents all 12 tribes. Okay. But the one on top of the horse who is in rulership is whom? It's Esau. Okay. Which again, the scriptures tell us what? That Esau is the end of the world. He will be the last Gentile nation ruling. He's on top of the horse. And then it says what? And Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. Okay. So the next nation to rule, and we're going to rule forevermore, is the children of Israel, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Okay. But this is why I say this movie is actually in mockery of Yahawashi'S second coming and the salvation that he's coming to bring Israel and the rulership that he's about to take from Esau. Okay. So now let's go back to the scriptures since we have that understanding. And let's read Ecclesiastes 10:7 again. And it says what? I have seen servants upon horses and princes walking as servants upon the earth. Okay. So now we have that understanding. But now let's put the final nail in the coffin. Okay. Let's actually prove that this servant that's upon horses is really talking about Esau, and the princes walking upon earth is talking about us. Okay, let's go back to the prophecy that was given our foremother, Rebecca. Okay, let's get to it. So this is the book of Genesis, chapter 25 and verse 23. And it reads, And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people, which is talking about us, Israel, shall be stronger than the other people, which is talking about whom? The twin brother, Esau. Okay. Then it goes on to say what? And watch closely. And the elder shall serve the younger. The elder is Esau. Okay. And the younger is Jacob, which is where we come from. Okay. But it says the elder, which is Esau, shall serve the younger. So Esau is that servant that Solomon saw on top of horses. And then he said what? He saw princes walking as servants upon the earth. That's us. Okay. So because we broke the law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High brought us to a lower state and put Esau in rulership. Okay. That's what's going on here. Okay. But I know this was real long-winded, but I went through all of that just to simply prove what the horse represents in certain contexts. Okay. It represents rulership. It represents power. Okay. So now that we've established that, Salakia for the long-windedness, but I like to be thorough. But now let's get back to the trailer. Okay.
But that's why back at the Haywood Ranch, as the only black-owned horse trainers in Hollywood, we like to say since the moment pictures could move, we had skin in the game.
Now notice what she just said. Since the moment pictures could move, we had skin in the game, right? So when she said since the moment pictures could move, what she's really subliminally saying is since the beginning of creation. Okay, that's what she's saying. Since the beginning of creation, we had skin in the game, which is, again, going into the rulership that Adam had. And not only that, it's going into the physical appearance of Adam. That's why the focus was skin. Okay, letting you know what the original people looked like. Okay, they came in different shades of brown. Okay, not this bastardized version of Adam and Eve and, you know, that you usually see. Okay, but Adam, Eve, and all the people that Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi'S created during, you know, that period, they were people of color. Okay. All those people that really, of course, it was Yahweh's blueprint, right? But it was Yahawashi'S and the angels that actually physically created all of these people. They were different shades of brown. Okay. That's what she's really saying. Now let's look at her dress code. Okay. Now look at her shirt. She has on the animal print. Okay. Which, you know, is an allusion to her probably in real life being a beta sex kitten. Okay. And notice also she's wearing the color green. And of course you have the green screen in the back. Okay. Now the color green is a representation of vegetation and fertility. Okay. Now, based on all of that, I would not be surprised if she's playing a mother goddess figure in this movie. She's probably playing the role of Eve. Okay. And that's why the color scheme right now is green mostly. Okay, this is where you get the concept of Mother Earth from. Okay, because it's really based upon Eve. Okay, because this is where all nations actually come from or birth from. Okay, this is where you get that concept of Mother Earth. Okay, I want to say it's the Greeks that had a so-called goddess called Gaia. Okay, she was the Mother Earth. It's just simply based upon Eve. And what you're gonna find out is most of these so-called Mother Goddess figures is based off of three women biblically that actually lived. Okay, it's based upon Eve. It's based upon Semiramis, and it's based upon Mary, the mother of Yahawashi'S. All these so-called fake Mother Goddess figures, okay, it's really a bastardized version of those three women. Okay, now let's take a look at something else. Notice on the green screen and on the horse, you have a bunch of orange crosses. Okay, now why is this? Okay, and notice they had to be orange. Okay, now some may argue and say, well, that's just for the green screen. Well, on a carnal level, yes, but there's a deeper meaning behind that. Okay, you have all these orange X's or crosses or whatever you want to call them, and it's on the green screen because that is a representation of Tammuz. Okay, and it's those orange crosses are on the green screen because, again, the color green represents what? Vegetation. And Tammuz was a so-called god of vegetation. And Tammuz is the bastardized version of the Messiah on the right-hand side, which is Yahawashi'S. Okay? Tammuz is the so-called Messiah on the left-hand side. Again, the left-hand side is meant to mimic the right-hand side. Okay? So could this movie actually be them venerating the Messiah that they worship, which is the Messiah on the left-hand side, Tammuz, and them making mockery of the real Messiah on the right-hand side, which is Yahawashi'S? Only time will tell. Okay, we have to see the whole movie to make that true evaluation, that true critique. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the trailer. So now let's take a look at this. Okay, let's look at the shirt that she's wearing. Let's draw attention to the shirt. Okay, she's wearing a shirt with an individual's face on it. And if you look closely, this individual, they only have their right eye exposed. Okay, now the right eye, of course, when you go back to ancient Kemet, the right eye represents the eye of Ra, which is also known as the eye of Horus. Okay, now Horus is also Tammuz. Okay, you see that? And we just talked about Tammuz, how the last scene was in veneration of Tammuz. Okay, that's why you had all those orange crosses on that green screen. Okay, because again, Tammuz is a Messiah figure on the left-hand side, and he was a so-called god of vegetation. Okay, so now in this scene, she's wearing a shirt with this individual exposing their right eye only, which is also for whom? Horus, which is also Tammuz. Okay, so again, this is them. Now, this is just my critique, but to me, this is them venerating the Messiah that they worship on the left-hand side, which is Tammuz, and them making mockery of the real Messiah on the right-hand side, which is Yahawashi'S. Okay, so let's get back to it. So now let's talk about what just happened. Now look at the screen. Notice how everything just went dark and they had to put focus on the owl. Okay. And really, if you look at it, the owl is really still kind of in light. It's kind of in the light, but it's still dark everywhere. Okay. Now, there's a reason for that. Okay. And there could be two things here. Now, this could be going into her actually being a mother goddess figure. Okay. Because the owl is also associated with the so-called goddess Minerva. Okay, because Minerva was a so-called goddess of wisdom. Okay, but now this is really, again, this is more so about Yahawashai. Okay, because the owl in general is symbolic of wisdom. Now, why is that? Okay, the owl is symbolic of wisdom because the owl is an animal that can see very, very well in the dark. Okay. Darkness represents what? People being having a lack of wisdom and understanding. Okay. That's biblical. Okay. And we're going to get into that. But again, the darkness represents people having a lack of wisdom and understanding. And the fact that the owl can see very well in the dark, the owl represents wisdom. Okay. So this is why I say this is also a mockery of Yahawashai. Okay, let's get into the scriptures and let's see what Yahawashai said about himself. Okay, so this is the book of John, chapter 8 and verse 12. And it reads, "Then spake Yahawashai again unto them, saying," now watch closely, "I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life." Okay. So as we see here again, and this is why I say that particular scene was definitely a mockery of Yahawashai. Yahawashai said, "I am the light of the world." Okay. That's why everything went dark. Okay. And they had to have everything go dark and the focus be on the owl. The owl represents what? Wisdom, which is what this light represents. Okay. That's why he said, "If any man followeth after me, he shall not walk in" what? Darkness. Okay. A lack of wisdom and understanding. Okay. That darkness also represents what? Wickedness, evil. Okay. Let's get more understanding. Okay, let's get a precept. So this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, starting at verse 1, and it reads, "Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee." Okay, now ultimately that light that's come is talking about whom? Yahawashai. Okay. And we know that light also represents what? Wisdom and understanding. Okay. So now let's move forward. This is verse 2. And it reads, "For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people." Okay. So this is talking about what? A lack of wisdom and understanding. Okay, there is gross darkness that's covered the earth, even to today. Okay, and you clearly see that. People are bugged the hell out. Okay, with all these do funny doctrines that's out there. Okay, gross darkness has covered the people. Okay, and that darkness also represents what? Wickedness, evil. Okay, but the verse goes on to say what? "But Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee." Okay, so now that's why we had to precept this. Now you should understand why Yahawashai said this in John chapter 8 and verse 12. He said, "I am the light of the world, and he that followeth me shall not walk in darkness." Okay, so now we have the understanding on what he meant. Okay, and this is my critique. That's what was going on in that scene. That's why it went dark, and they had to have the owl as a focal point in the dark, Because the owl represents what? Wisdom. It's an animal that can see very well in the dark. Okay? So now let's get back to the trailer. Now notice, the brother is standing with the white horse, okay? He's standing with the white horse when he sees those lights in the sky, which is what? The UFOs, okay? Which is really what? The chariots. That's what it's supposed to represent. But the point is, he's standing with the white horse. Now, of course, the white horse has a right-hand side understanding and a left-hand side understanding, okay? Now, the white horse on the left-hand side represents what? A psychopump, okay? Or a bridge from the physical world to the spiritual world, okay? I've talked about this numerous times in a lot of my different videos, okay? I believe one was the Travis Scott series about what happened at the Astral World concert. I actually mentioned this, I believe, in the first video. Okay, I talked about what the white horse represented, and I gave examples. Okay, but on the right-hand side, okay, the white horse represents Yahawashi'S when you read the book of Revelation, the 19th chapter, in which we're about to get right now. Okay, let's get to it. So this is Revelation chapter 19 and verse 11. And it reads, "And I saw heaven opened." Now watch closely. "And behold, a white horse." Okay, so again, this white horse, what does this white horse represent? Again, this white horse actually represents the chariots. Okay, the chariot that Yahawashi'S is going to be coming on. Okay. A lot of times in the scriptures, dependent upon the context, the chariots or horses is a metaphor for the chariots. Okay. Now, if somebody wants to gainsay, okay, let me ask you this. Why is it that when you're dealing with cars have a specific amount of what's known as horsepower, right? So if Esau's vehicles can't be represented by horses and power, okay, why can't the Most High's vehicles, which are the chariots, be represented by the same thing, which is horsepower? Again, we already established that horses in certain contexts represent power, right? But horses in other contexts are also representative of what? The chariots, okay? So let's continue. And the verse says, now watch closely. "And he that sat upon him was called Faithful and True." Okay. And it says, "And in righteousness he doth judge and make war." So again, this is Yahawashi'S. Okay. And it says he that sat upon him, which lets us know what? Again, he's going to be inside of those chariots. Okay. Which is represented by what? The white horse. This is why I said the guy, the brother, he had to be standing next to the white horse when he first saw the chariot coming. OK, and when you actually play that scene out, which we're about to, once he actually sees the chariot, the white horse, it strikes out running towards the chariot because that's what it represents. OK, so with that in mind, let's get back to the trailer. OK. Now, it should be very interesting to see what role he plays in the movie, okay? And because it's kind of hard to tell. He could very well be Northern Kingdom. You really can't tell. He may be. Or or he could be an Edomite with a dark tan, but he could very well be Northern Kingdom, which would make sense to have, both the Northern and Southern Kingdom in this movie. But I say it should be interesting because he has the blonde hair. Okay, now the blonde hair, of course, on the left-hand side represents what? Mind control. Okay, it represents somebody that's under the mind control. And it also represents the so-called boy god, Harpocrates. Okay, he was the so-called boy god of secrets and mischief. Okay, and Harpocrates actually goes back to the so-called Kemetic god Horus, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, which of course we already established is also Tammuz. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the trailer.
What's a bad miracle?
So listen to what he just said. He said, so what's a bad miracle? Okay, now this is why I say, according to my critique, and again, this is just my critique, that this is a mockery of Yahawashi'S and his second coming. And not only that, it's also a mockery of the 2/3. Okay, because only the 2/3 are going to view Yahawashi'S second coming as a bad miracle because of what's going to happen to them. Okay, but they're calling it a bad miracle because they know Yahawashi'S is going to come back in a miraculous way, according to the scriptures. Okay, he's coming back in his glory. And as the scripture says, he's going to come back to the astonishment of them that dwell upon the earth. That's 2nd Ezra, the 13th chapter. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the trailer. Okay, so now we got to talk about this. These balloon characters, okay, these different colored balloon characters, that seems to be a theme in this movie as well. Okay, now this is just my critique, but again, this is letting you know that this is about Yahawashi'S second coming, because the ultimate destruction that he's bringing is really going to be on America. Okay, and that's what these different colored balloons represent. Now, why is that? Because this is going into what? The rainbow. Now, the rainbow here in this society represents what? The Sodomites. Okay. Now, what do we read in Revelation, the 11th chapter and the 8th verse? It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called what? Sodom and Egypt. So this place is spiritual Sodom, chiefly because of the homosexuality that goes on here. And I believe, and now this is just my critique, that's what these different colored balloons represent. Okay, I cannot say definitively until I actually see the movie. But based upon this trailer, this very short trailer, that's the conclusion that I'm coming to. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the trailer. Now, I'm sorry I have to keep pausing it that quick, but we got to talk about this too. Okay, because again, when you look at these stuffed animals, okay, they look like what? Aliens. Okay, this is also a mockery of Yahawashi'S and his second coming, because why? He's coming back with whom? His army, which is whom? The angels, the host of heaven. Those thousands and thousands upon thousands of angels that he's coming back with. Okay, that's who these so-called creatures, these aliens, is supposed to represent. Okay, because they are foreign to this particular world, this atmosphere. Okay, but they are not quote unquote angels or Martians, or they're not. They are angels. They're not Martians. Okay, they're not aliens. Okay, they are angels of the Most High. Okay, so let's get back to the trailer.
They got word for that.
so we got to talk about this. So when you look at this scene, it's what appears to be a chariot, okay? But if you look closely, there's these flags hanging from it, okay? And it appears to be the flags that sometimes you may see at amusement parks or things like that. But it's different colored flags, okay? And I said this is a mockery of Yahawashi'S second coming, okay? Now, why is it that these different colored flags are hanging from this chariot, okay? Those different colored flags, again, represent what? The rainbow. But it represents the rainbow on the right-hand side, what it was really created for, okay? Because the rainbow is a sign, okay? When you go back to the book of Genesis, the rainbow is a sign that the Most High Yahweh would not destroy the earth again with water, okay? So they know that the real destruction is going to come from really the chariots and, of course, the missiles that's going to come. But it's not going to be by water. That's the point. Okay. Jordan Peele, this dude, man. But but yeah, that's really what that's going into. Okay. So let's get back to the trailer.
Yeah, nah.
Now, as we see here, the brother is riding the horse and he has on the orange hoodie. Okay. Now we know what the color orange represents. The color orange represents enlightenment. Okay. Or what they call, and this is why I say this is a mockery. It's what they call reaching a point of Christ consciousness. Okay. Because the color orange also represents what? The number 33. Okay, it's the only color that has a numerical value of 33 when you look at the full reduction. Okay, actually, let's take a look at that real quick. All right, so this is the gematria calculator. And as you see, we typed in the word orange. And as you see, when you look at the full reduction, it comes to a numerical value of 33. Okay, that's why the color orange represents the number 33. Okay, and that's why the brother is riding the horse. The brother that's riding the horse, he has on the orange hoodie. Okay, it's supposed to represent, the number 33, reaching a point of what they call on the left hand side, Christ consciousness. Okay, the opening of that third eye, so to speak. Okay. I believe when you look back at my first 5 videos, okay, it was about it was the Bad Boys for Life, Mamba for Life series, okay, showing how that movie Bad Boys for Life was predictive programming to the death of Kobe Bryant and everybody that was inside of that helicopter, okay. And that Kobe Bryant's last public appearance was at an NBA game. Okay, I believe it was a Dallas Mavericks NBA game. And he had on the orange hoodie. Okay, because he had reached a point of Christ consciousness. And of course, he was about to be sacrificed. Okay, the very next day, which was that Sunday, if my memory serves me correctly. Okay, but anyway, let's get back to the trailer. Okay. Now, before we actually end this video, let's talk about the theme song of this particular trailer, okay, or really this particular movie, okay, because it has significance to it, okay. Let's put the icing on the cake real quick, okay. Now, the name of this song is a song from Stevie Wonder, okay. Now, mind you, Stevie Wonder, of course, as we all know, was a blind man, a blind so-called black man. Okay, keep that in mind. And the name of the song is what? Fingertips. Now, why is this important? Okay, let's take a look at something. Okay. Now, I'm sure everybody is familiar with this particular painting from Michelangelo. Okay. Now, it's a bastardized version. Okay. But again, this is supposed to be the Most High or God touching the fingertip of Adam. Okay. And it's just very curious that that particular song from Stevie Wonder, which the name of the song is Fingertips, was chosen to be the theme song of this movie. Okay, remember when we first started evaluating this trailer, I started off by saying, okay, this is going into Adam. Okay, and his rulership. Okay, and it just so happens he chose this particular song to represent this particular movie. Okay, very, very interesting. But it gets better. Okay, what album did this particular song come from? Okay, what was the name of the album? Let's really put the icing on the cake. Okay, now would you look at this? Now it says Fingertips Part 1 and 2, Little Stevie Wonder. Watch closely. The 12-year-old genius. Uh-oh. Okay. Now, when I said that this movie is a mockery of Yahawashi'S and his second coming, now this should be clear. Okay. The theme song for this movie, which is Fingertips, comes from Stevie Wonder's album called The 12-Year-Old Genius. What precepts should come to mind? Okay, let's take a look. All right. So this is the book of Luke, chapter 2 and verse 41. And it reads, Now his parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. Now this is verse 42. Now watch closely. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem after the custom of the feast. So Yahawashai was 12 years old when this incident happened during the Passover. Okay. Now let's jump down a bit because we know the account. Okay. The caravan went back to its respective places. And of course, Yahawashai stayed back for 3 days. His parents did not know where he was at. So they turned back to Jerusalem to find him. And they found him where? In the temple. Now let's get to it. Let's read the rest of the account. Okay. So jumping down a bit, this is verse 46, and it reads, And it came to pass that after 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the doctors, both hearing them and asking them questions. Now, here's the point. Verse 47, watch very closely. And all that heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. Okay? Do you see that? He was 12 years old, and the doctors and lawyers of the law, they were astonished at his understanding and answers. Okay? Now, why is it, let me ask you again, why is it that Jordan Peele or whomever it is that chooses the soundtrack, okay, they chose to pick a song called Fingertips from Stevie Wonder's album, and that album was named The 12-Year-Old Genius. Why is that? Okay, because this is a mockery of Yahawashai. Okay, Yahawashai was 12 years old when he was in the temple confounding the doctors and lawyers of the law. Okay, that's why they chose the song from the album The 12-Year-Old Genius. Okay, now this is just my critique, but that's the way that I see it. Okay, And let's not forget that, again, the song that they chose came from a blind black man, right? Okay. Now we know, according to the gospel, Yahawashi'S is going to restore sight to whom? The blind. Okay. Which is just a metaphor for whom? The children of Israel. Okay. This whole thing is mockery. And that's just my critique. Okay. But anyway, that was the trailer for the upcoming movie Nope. Okay. And of course, that's the part of the title of my video. Okay. Trailer for upcoming movie Nope. Are they making mockery of Yahawashi'S second coming? And of course, just simply going over the trailer, I would say yes, it is a mockery. Okay. But we won't know definitively until we actually watch the whole movie. Okay. Of course, my critique was just simply based off of a roughly 2.5 minute trailer. Okay. But that was my critique. All right. So, of course, and as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Ruach Kodash. I want to thank all you brothers and sisters for tuning in. I hope this video was informative and edifying. And until next time, Shalom, family.